Alrighty, how y'all doing? Let's see. Who's here? Jen? Jen was here first, and Karasap and Wellness with Dawn. How are you doing? All right. Hey, if y'all are popping in here, if you've got a channel on YouTube, go ahead and let me know what the channel is about. Hi, Biscuits. How are you doing? Welcome in. And if y'all are here from my Facebook group, holler, just say, let me know who you are if you're here. Now, we're not going to be on too long tonight. I just popped on. I was having a rough time getting my camera hooked up. It was like bugging out. I'm going to have a new computer out here. But we're going to get further segmented in the group. I did a post and asked, and a lot of you answered who was just like curious and who was serious about like making content, generating revenue and that. So I've got a good idea of where to split people up. And from there, I'm going to need to know who wants to like really be. I think we'll make more of a challenge. And the people that were just interested, basically they can just get information. So even if they just get like these live streams and just watch it, that'd be good enough, and they'll get kind of an idea of what they want to do. But then the people who are serious, I need to further segment you guys into groups of who needs to make money and who wants to make money, right? There's a little bit of a difference, and who needs to do it like generally quick. Mike, my name is Teresa. Hey, Teresa, it doesn't show up with the name I got when I signed up. Okay, that's cool. So everybody just decides if you want to generate money on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all of these platforms, there's a bunch of different ways. And what we got to do is, like, if you're in my private group, figure out which way you want to do it. If you need to generate income like rather quickly, like in a few months, then you're gonna have to go the route of like things like affiliate links, and you're not going to be able to think about long term like being a content creator. So there's different ways to go about it. So if you're not thinking of doing this like long, if you're thinking you need money like next month, there's no sense in trying to be a content creator and thinking you're going to make money off of monetizing a channel, and that's going to take years unless you're like an anomaly. So in the group, just let me know how quick y'all want to make money, if you're interested in putting out a lot of content and being a creator, or if you just want to figure out different programs, because along the way we didn't jump right into it. We've been doing it about 3 years like full time, and in the very beginning we were working, and we've worked for ourselves for like 25 years. So we were actually on the road and we were taking customers, and my wife was like painting and doing artwork. And whenever we had free time was when I was making videos, on the gardening and everything, and putting those up. It wasn't until like 3 years ago that we got the opportunity to go full time, and that's a combination of all of monetization with all the different channels I'm monetized on: Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, and having affiliate links with different programs. What's up, Zachary? There's different. Almost every big company out there has an affiliate program. Amazon's like probably the most popular right now, and theirs is actually the best because they got sticky cookies, which means you don't only have to sell that product, that all you have to do is get people to click over to the platform, and as long as they'll put a cookie on their computer, which is a tracking cookie, and if they buy anything within 2 days, like the next 48 hours, you get credit for that. So you can make money just driving traffic to Amazon. You don't have to specifically have anything like I've got, like this filament. If I do a quick video on the filament, I put a link down there and I said, I tried this one out, it does pretty good, you should check it out. If they click that and they go look at the filament and they go, oh, I'm not really interested in that, they get a cookie put on their computer. And then Amazon's really good at suggesting all the different things, like other people that they'll have a bunch of 3D products, but then they'll say stuff that you've been using from your personal history, right? You guys have seen it where it'll say it might be time to order this again, right? People who like this stuff, like you also like this, and they'll suggest other things. If anybody purchases any of that stuff, you get credit like for all of that. So you can actually generate a decent income. I hardly ever do it. I just put my Amazon store. So almost every video that I put up, there's a link to my Amazon store. So people will automatically, if they're looking for something, they'll go over there and click over to the Amazon store. And I still generate anywhere from like 300-400 up to over 1,000 a month without telling people, hey, go click my link. If you really went into it and you became like an influencer, there you can sit there and stream all day and just put a bunch of links up. You can actually live stream on Amazon. So that's one of the better ones to get started with. All the other ones are just, they'll give you a link. If the people look at that product and they buy it, you'll get like 3 to 10%, depends on which one it is. Whatnot doesn't pay you until the person gets the item. What about shipping? Do they release that or hold on to it? No, yeah, Whatnot will do that until you reach 1,000 sales, which I did in a couple of months, and then you get instant payout. They'll hold it, and shipping that's all part of, like, you get, like, if you have $400 in sales, right, during a show, you go ahead and you generate the labels, and it's all coming out of there. They don't charge you for like the labels. It's all coming out of that 400 that you had. So they've already collected the shipping. And what they might do is have adjustments to it. If you like underestimated, like if you said everything was 3 ounces and then you sold things that were like 2 pounds and it went from ground advantage up to priority, you get 5 adjustments for free. And then after that, they charge you. So, and that will come out of your pay. But I think on my last show too, I forgot, I scheduled all my shows and I put one-time maximum shipping was $9.21. So anybody that got that, like that big box we're selling, anyone who purchased that, it was $9.21 for that. And it should automatically reset it for like the other products they started buying. Mine gave them $9.21 max, so everything else. So some people order like 11 things during that show. I have to pick up the shipping on the rest because I had that setting. So you have to check your settings, right, depending on what you want, because some people do that. If they're gonna, like, people are buying that box for over $125, right? So if I was gonna sell those all night, I wouldn't mind paying $9.21 for shipping, like giving them free shipping for them buying that. So Whatnot does good as long as you get a little traction. And like I said, if you get over that 1,000 sales, then you get, as soon as you print the label and you pack their stuff up, then you get paid for it. And you have to keep all of your, I bought one of those boxes. Yeah, you got one? Did you get several things with it, or was it just the one box? There was someone got about 11 different items. But the other thing is too, with them and their payout, you have to go ahead and follow the community guidelines. You can't have like a whole lot of returns and things like that too. So, but it's pretty cool if you can do that. You guys know what I'm just selling, like my products that I make. There's people, if you can find things wholesale, and right now you can go ask AI where to look and where, to find things. But all you got to do is find things cheaper than what other people, what people are willing to pay for it, and get on there and sell it. And you can make a couple of bucks. You can go clean out your attic and your closet and put stuff up there. You can go around to yard sales. This one it's HL discounts or something. They come on from morning to night, and they're running auctions. Like, it's like, I think they have it on 2 seconds, 3 seconds or 2 seconds. They like put it up and they just go, number 89, number 90, and people are like bidding, and they'll go through thousands of auctions every day. Like, if I tune in at night and they're still on, I popped in last night and they're on number 3,495 or something. So they were, you know, and it's not just one person, so they'll switch out. But there's several on there. There's lots of ways that you can, you know, just generate money like that. If that was around during like lockdown, like during COVID, I'd have been all over that. But I didn't know anything about it. I just started 6 months ago, and that Whatnot's like, to us, it's like life changing. You know, it's that we can go and get our stuff, turn on a live stream, and sell a lot of stuff. And like right today, you know, I'm like packing things and that. I have a closet full of crystals. I haven't touched it in 8 years. Yeah, had an accident and couldn't lift afterwards. Oh, I'm sorry, hibiscus. Yeah, but you never know. See, I was thinking of like going on there. We've got boxes and boxes of comics and trading cards, and it's all the superhero stuff, all the X-Men stuff and everything from like Fleer from, I think 98 or whatever. We just got loads of it. I was thinking like going live one night and just bringing all that out. None of it is, you know, like the collectors where they wrap it up, but some people might find it interesting because it, you know, the movies and that come out. They might like to have some. I have, you know, some with all the X-Men and everything, and what was that? The Avengers Endgame and things like that. So they might, you know, you never know. You just go on and the one thing is, if you start things at $1, you got to be willing to sell it for $1. So if you don't have a big crowd in there yet, if there's just a couple people, there's not going to be many bids. So that's the only drawback on there. So until you know, get a little bit of a crowd in that, it might be a little tough to make some sales. The other thing, so you can do that. You could just put it for sale, like your crystals and that on. I mean, there's a lot of, I wonder if like Etsy, you can put it on Etsy. That's supposed to be handmade stuff, but they're letting all kind of AI and art and all kinds of things on there now. But Facebook Marketplace, we were finding stuff on the side of the road and just cleaning it up, putting it on Facebook Marketplace, and, you know, selling for $50 or $100 and that. Back when people were remodeling everywhere, you know, it was all these flipping shows and everything, people were throwing out all kinds of stuff. And some of the things, the higher end houses would just toss on the side of the road. The other people that were doing like lower end houses loved getting at that stuff, but they didn't have the time to like cruise around and look for it. So basically you're saving people time. It's a little tougher too with like Goodwill. All of these places now, their employees can all have access to the internet. And Goodwill actually put out, somebody leaked a list, somebody that worked at Goodwill had a list of all the designer names and told them, if any of these come in, don't put it out. So we're not even getting access to all that stuff anymore. They'll have all of the Michael Kors, Chanel and stuff, and they won't even put it on a shelf. Before, they used to at least take them and put them in a little glass shelf out in the, what you call it, but now they're keeping it, they have their own online auction. Anyhow, there's a lot of different ways, you know, to make money online. So everybody's got to kind of decide what they want to do and how quick. So being a content creator is not what it used to be. It takes like a lot to grow an audience. And right now you don't really need an audience. All you need is to find the right people. So if everybody's interested, you know, in doing that, that's going to take a little while, but growing an audience is awesome. You know, everybody says you don't really need one in that, but it's good if you decide, hey, I want to sell something or want to get a message out or what have you, to actually be able to talk to people. So the only way you do that is by putting your content out. And I've seen a lot of you already started. That's good. But to compete with everything that's going on right now, you've got to constantly put out like a load of it. You got to put out a bunch of content, and it's not just anything. It's got to be like good quality content. And I don't mean good quality by like lighting, you know, get your audio kind of right. It's got to provide value for people. And every time we put out a video, I'm thinking, you know, how's this going to help someone? And I don't know if you guys have seen, some of you are popping in here, are not in our private Facebook group, but I put up a video, I think it was on this channel too, on Wednesday. I made a video and it's about our gardening stuff. But I made the video and it was ready to go. And I could have just uploaded it if I just wanted to put it out and get some views. But I knew that I'd have more of a crowd on Friday, which was 2 days away. So I wouldn't release it yet. And then what I did was I took that video and I cut a short from it on my own. I didn't use AI. AI would just take like clips. It'll have funky kind of zooming and stuff. I don't like it at all. And I cut my own clip where I knew I'd have the hook, and I knew that, you know, it'd keep people interested like the first 10 seconds. And then so I put that video, I dropped a longer video that started driving sales. Then the next day, when I knew that we'd have a bunch of people online, I dropped the short. And then with the short, you can either connect it, like Facebook Business Suite lets you connect it to the longer video. Or what I did was just go into my comments and say full video here. And I put a link to that full video and also that short. What Business Suite has is auto response. And a lot of you have been on my channel, on the gardening channel. You know that if you say certain words, it says, hey, I sent you a message. And you guys have seen this probably with all the influencers on Instagram and all these other channels. So the auto response is like, great because it just drives a lot of traffic and it doesn't take you a lot of time. Whereas before, going through and like actually having conversations with people like just eats up all of your time. And if they click off of the platform from there, it gives the wrong signal to that platform that your video is driving people away from that platform. So all of a sudden your traffic will die. Now, if it just says I sent you a link, then when they're done, they'll go check their messages. They might not check it right then, but they're clicking into their messages. And then if they leave from their messages, that's okay, because that's what the direct message is for with the businesses, is so that you can talk to your clients or your customers and you can give them links and that in there. So that doesn't hurt you. So what it does is it creates engagement because they make a comment, like mine was BOGO. So they make the comment. And then mine automatically comments underneath of it, hey, I sent you a message. So there's 2 comments already for each person. And then, what do you call it? That one started going, like I said, I took my time to do a good video where I knew it would have a hook and it'd perform well. And by performing well, I don't, you know, it could be a couple of thousand views or a million views, you know, it's just where it gets some traction. And that one I put up yesterday and it's around 90,000 right now. It's going to hit, you know, 100,000 views. And that one's drove about $3,500 in sales so far. So just putting that, taking those videos, if I would have did it on Wednesday, it might not have done that. You know, it might have had like half the sales or whatever. And because as many people weren't jumping on and engaging in all of that, then those videos would have had a slower start. So just taking all of that into account. So being a creator is not just if you want to make, you know, money, if you want to make revenue, which we got to eat, we got to pay bills, right? So if I was just worried about views, I would just drop it and just worry about getting a bunch of views, drop another one. But right now I drop those, and between that and whatnot, we're kind of maxed out with all of our printers. It's going to take a couple of days to catch up with everything. So that will keep going because it's doing good now. So it'll keep going for a couple of days. So we'll constantly have sales dripping in. Like a couple of weeks ago, I put out a video and I told you I dropped that one, and those started to perform. And it started out with it drove about 10 grand in sales. And by the end of the week, it was up over 20 grand because sales just kept dripping in. It wasn't like all at once, like the first batch. But after we dropped that one and it started generating sales, I could have dropped another one and dropped another one and dropped another one. But then, you know, so we're at the constraint where, you know, we can only print and push so much product out. So when we get more machines than that, then that's what we'll do. And most of social media right now is just doing more. So, you know, if you guys, you know, you're not going to put something out and get 100,000 views. You know, I've been doing this for like 10 years. So you might put something out and get, you know, 100 views, but you might get a couple of people, you know, looking at your product or just engaging with you. And what you got to do is put some more out and put some more out and put some more out. And what's going to help is what we were talking about, like Gary Vee was saying, jab, 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 right hook, is that you keep putting out content that gives value and gives value in that. If you just start out right now, and I've seen this with a lot of people who go through all these courses and everything, and they'll spend a year making a product, which is like we have an ebook, an online course, coaching, different things like that. And they'll come out and their very first post are, you know, they'll say a little something, give a tip or something, and say, by the way, blah, 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 you know, and start selling from there. And not even, you know, it's like going on a first date, you know, and being too forward, right? So social media is the same way. You got to warm up your crowd. So that's why I said everyone, even if you're doing affiliate links, if you come on and the first thing you say is, hey, go click this link, go click this link. And even if people do, if you're new, you don't have a lot of content and your only videos up there are driving people off that platform, you're never going to get anywhere. So anything that you want to do, you want to treat social media like it's marketing, it's free advertising. And think about some of the videos, some of the commercials. You know, a lot of commercials are saying, you know, go buy this, go buy that. And then think about there's some commercials that are just showing their brand and showing a benefit. And it doesn't say buy this, buy this, buy this. Another thing is like we talked about driving down the road and seeing somebody's face on a billboard or a bus stop or the restaurant, you know, and signs everywhere. And you might drive by it every day, and not pay too much attention to it, you know, and then one day you might look at it and read it. And the same thing happens on the internet. And then one day you're going by and it was like, you need something, you remember, hey, I saw that, you know, there. And then you go look at that bus stop or you go look at that billboard and you get the number down in that. So social media is the same way. They might see your thumbnail 7, 8 times before they decide to click on a video. But if you just do one video and then you're just waiting on that to see how that does, and they push that one out a couple times and nobody really responds to it, you're never going to get any data built up. You're never going to build an audience. So you keep putting stuff out so that you build up data. And then that way the algorithms, when a couple of people start liking things, they can build up that data, and then they can build lookalike audiences and that, and they'll know who to start pushing your stuff to. But if you never do, if you never put stuff out, they have no idea. So pretend you're like the algorithm, like you have a clipboard, blank sheets of paper, and I'm telling you, here's Susie, go find an audience for her. You know, from the blank paper, you can't really do anything, right? It'd just be generic people, you'd just be asking. But then if you sat there and you asked Susie a bunch of questions, what's your content about? How do you help people, right? How long have you been doing this? You ask her a bunch of questions, then you'll kind of have an idea of where you should go. If she just makes like vegan food and she's all about vegan, right? Are you going to go to like the butcher shop and try to get customers for her? So that's what all of the algorithms are doing, are just building up a bunch of information. And if you never give it that information, if you never put out content, it doesn't know where to put your content. So it'll put you in front of a generic crowd. And what you want to do is get hyper specific where they'll put you in front of the right people. And the only way you do that is by making content. And you might make, mistakes and everything. That's why I told everyone 1 week, just go out there, make some short videos like this, vertical, just talk. And you can talk about where you live, what a nice day it is, or a butterfly, or whatever the hell you want to, and just put it up there. And then get used to making content, because you're going to mess up. And in the very beginning, if you wait and you're trying to get the perfect script, and you're lighting every right, you're trying to get everything right, and then you go and film it, edit it, put it up, something's bound to go wrong. Something's not going to work right. You didn't have the aspect ratio right. You didn't have, something, you forgot to say something. You didn't edit it just right. And so when you keep making content and putting it out, you learn all of those things, and you learn how to avoid it. You learn how to correct mistakes, and it starts to become part of your workflow, where it becomes like easy. Like I said, those videos that drove thousands of dollars worth of sales, I didn't even plan them. I just came out here. The stuff was ready to harvest. So I had to harvest it anyway and replan it. So I just grabbed my camera and put it up there, and I film it, and I just talk to the camera. Within an hour, I have a video. I'll go edit it, and then I can take that and make shorts out of it too. If I don't have a script and I don't feel like talking, if I harvest it, you guys have seen some of my videos where I'm not talking and I'm doing a voiceover. I'll at least film it. I'll take my camera, set it up, do my work, and then later I'll have it inside, cut it up, and then I'll do a voiceover over it. So there's a bunch of ways. It's just that I know I can do that. So when the opportunity comes up, I go ahead and will film it and have it, whether I use it or not. There's loads of footage that I have that I haven't even used. But then down the road, if I haven't got time to film something, I go back through all of that, and then I pull stuff up. I put up some videos with clips from 2017, and people don't notice. The only people notice is because they see a pond in the background. They remember that was a long time ago when I lived there, right? So there's tons of different things y'all can do. And like I said, so that's some of the stuff that has to do with social media, with making content. That's going to take a while. And the only way you get good at it is by making content and putting it out. So part of our group, what we're going to be doing, like I said, there's some people who are just curious. And those people, like I said, you just get the information. They just want to see if they want to do it or what. And the people who are serious, there's some people in there said they're serious. They want to make money at it. I think we'll make it like a challenge, because if they're just in the group, I give them information, they end up not doing anything. And I've seen this over and over. I've been doing this for over 6 years. But I think what we'll do is we'll have a challenge, and people can go ahead and get in on the challenge. And we'll start out like shooting short videos, putting them up. If you guys have any kind of like apprehension or whatever, that's part of what that group is for. You can film. I think Julie just put a video up in there. I didn't have time to look at it yet. Sarah was putting some videos. And then we have if you're into gardening, we have our Keep on Growing one. You can put it out there. And then that way you practice making content, and you're not real worried about it going out, and a million people aren't going to see it anyway. If they do, then your video went viral. So if it's not that good, it's not going to get any views. It's not going to go anywhere. So it's all about testing, and big businesses do this right now. It's just testing. It's not that they're putting out videos trying to go viral and everything. If you watch like Gary Vee, who I talk about all the time, he's got 4 or 5 million followers. He'll go live and it'll be like 1,000 people watching the live stream out of like 5 million followers. Sometimes they'll drop videos, shorts. Some will get over 100,000 views or 1 million views. And then some will only get a couple hundred views. Some will only get a couple thousand. And that's all because they're taking things and they're putting stuff out and they're testing. And that's what like all the businesses are doing. And that's what you guys need to treat this like a business. If you want to generate income, you need to treat it like a business. What they're doing is It's what the marketing agencies used to do for them, was they'd go and give them a lot of money and they would make content and put it out. And it wasn't YouTube before, it was magazine ads and newspaper ads or the radio or television. And they put stuff out and test and see what worked. They put so much money, it'd go out for so many nights to so many thousands of people. And then the ones that did good, then they come back and go, okay, these performed well for this demographic. And then they would take a bunch of money and pour it into that and push it out to more people like that. And social media is doing the same thing. And you guys have the opportunity to do it for free. You know, basically it's your time and everything, but you're doing the same stuff that all these big companies were spending millions of dollars doing. And you guys can actually do it for free on your own. It just takes up some of your time. So I didn't have time to put anything in the description here. I'll put it in there a little later. If anybody pops on that is not in our group, if you want to be part of it, I'll get you a link to that. You guys who are in our group, like I said, I have the post where it's filtering people out who's just curious and who's really serious about wanting to generate income. The ones who are serious about generating income, now I need to know how quick you need to make income. If it's something like fast, or if you're in it for the long haul and you want to build a brand, and you know, this is something that you're going to be doing for a while. I'm on, but my name isn't showing. This is Jerry. What's up, Jerry? Yeah, I see Jerry. I think Jerry 86751. That's cool. And how you feeling, Jerry? You doing better? Yeah, but the people who are interested, like I said, we need to find out who needs to generate income quickly and who needs to generate income. You know, you're interested in. This is the long haul. Is like when people say keep on growing. You know what I mean? That you built a brand, and that's the best thing. Brand's better than just sales. And if you guys are into that, you know, that's what's going to take a while to build that. And that's why I gave you all a lifetime membership, is that it's going to take, you know, a while for you to build something up like that. If you're needing to generate income like rather quickly, then you're going to have to concentrate on different things like the affiliate links, even sponsorships. Within a couple of months, if you build a little bit of an audience, you can get sponsorships or brand deals. They're really looking at, they call them micro influencers now, you know, smaller influencers, because the big ones are just way too expensive. So there's just about everyone out there needs, you know, some kind of advertising or presence on social media, especially like in your small town. You got a bunch of mom and pop shops all around that are trying to compete with all of Walmart and McDonald's and everything, right? And if they had a local like influencer, you know, there's a lot of opportunity, you know, for you to make money where you don't need to have 1 million people or whatever. They just, all they care about is what's going to convert into them getting more customers and more leads. So there's a bunch of things you can do. And it depends on what you're willing to do. Like I said, me and my wife, it kills me to drive by something on the side of the road now, since we have our studio all set up and we've got shipping boxes and tape and labels and all of our stuff that we're growing everywhere. I can't like pick up a headboard or a sink or anything and bring it in and store it in here. So it like kills me, because when I drive by it, it looks like money to me. It doesn't look like, you know, a sink on the side of the road. When I drive by, I see like $100 or $150. So it depends on what you're willing to do and what you're capable of too. You know, not everyone can do that. But going to like thrift shops and that, I think the better play is to go to yard sales and people that really don't know, you know, what they have, and they're getting rid of some stuff. Or the estate sales are getting a little picking out too, because they're just like the thrift shops where they can all just look everything up on their phone. And I've been through some estate sales where the prices are just like ridiculous. Before you used to get like stuff real cheap. They were just trying to get rid of it. But you can still find deals. Keely still found some stuff in our thrift shop that they overlooked. It's not like well-known name brand and that. and they still miss some stuff. But yeah, there's tons of things I posted in our group, like I think it's Facebook. I think I made $800 or something, and then that goes up. Sometimes it went up to like $7,000 one month, and so it fluctuates by how much content you're putting out. They want us to constantly put out content. Like Facebook is like asking you to put out 30 or 40 pieces a day. So if I do, we'll just be flooded with like orders and stuff, because they don't only see that content. If they like it, then Facebook shows them other stuff. So if I made a good video that drove sales, if I make one that's not about our adapters and sales, if I make that and that one starts kicking off, what Facebook's going to do is show them that one next, because that one had a lot of engagement and that one did good. So it's a good thing, because you can still continue to drive sales. But like I said, if you can't keep up with the supply and demand, then you really don't want to, be putting anything out. So Facebook's wanting you to put out like a ton. Facebook really is looking for new creators. There's so much AI stuff out there. There's so many people that are just ripping off other videos. There's so many people that are just taking content from TikTok and Instagram and everything, that they want fresh, new, original. They want original content. What's up? Was it Asking? How are you doing? So Facebook's wanting to get in on. Before, it was like nothing, and everybody was all about YouTube, and that's when I first started, and YouTube was king. There's some months I'm making more on Facebook than I do on YouTube. It just depends on how much content you put out. So this is one thing I teach you in our group, and that too is that you try different things, and what works, when something starts working, you lean into that, right? So I'm on all these different platforms, and that's what a lot of the gurus out there tell you, to focus on one thing and one platform, right? Which is good. And if you can do that and you've got the focus and you can do it and you build it up, it's good. But what happens if that platform goes away? Or what happens if somebody hacks your account, or something? Just, there was one creator that had like 700,000 followers and her channel just disappeared. And YouTube didn't know what to do about it. They said it was like algorithmic lightning or something, they called it. And she had to start over from scratch. So if you focus on just that one, that there's always that possibility that something can happen. But if you go ahead and you post on all these different channels, all these different platforms, if something happens to one, you've got the other ones to back up. If you start over, you can tell people, hey, I started over. And also, they all never pop at the same time. Even Facebook and Instagram, which Facebook bought Instagram, right? There, you can put videos on there that they'll do good on Facebook and not do good on Instagram, or they'll do good on Instagram and not do good on Facebook, even though they're owned by the same parent company and use a lot of the same algorithms and that. I saw a reference to 80% commission in one of your posts, but didn't read it. Yeah, I haven't addressed that yet, Jerry. But that's one thing I said. If people, the people who are just popping in here, what we're talking about as part of our group is that we separated people into who was just curious and just wanted information, and who was serious and wanted to start generating revenue. And I said, and then from there, we're going to further segment it into who's need money like fast, and who's willing to take the time and build a brand, build a business. So there's two different ways. So if you're wanting to make this like a business, like, keep on growing, people say keep on growing. We built a brand, and that doesn't happen overnight. So you can do it that way. That takes a longer time. Building an audience is not as easy as it used to be, but for new people, it's getting easier, which is like to me, if I was just starting, I would be excited about it. When I first started, you had to really grind it out, and you were always competing with all the bigger channels. And now you can start and put out, not all of them is going to get a bunch of views, but you can put out your videos, and you have just as much a chance of going viral as like I do. which is good for all the new people. So you can start doing that, but anything you do, you're really just going to have to put out some content. And one thing we're talking about, so if you want to build a brand, that's going to take a little while, and that's building trust and building an audience. And if you just want to make some money, I'm taking my ebook, my online course, I'm updating them and reshooting the videos, adding more information. I had just the basics in my online course, and I'm going to add a little more. You don't want to do too much. Tiffany, what is up? 4 cheese. I'm not going to put too much in, because that's one thing, is that you can overwhelm people. You know, people want to charge more, and they want to keep putting a bunch of information in. But there's I've seen a lot of people go through these courses, and there's just so much in there that they get overwhelmed and they never do anything. So I can build another course in the future that has more, but the basic one that I have keeps selling. Like every day I get sales, either my ebook or online course or whatever. It's just like passive income. You guys don't really hear me on my channel saying, you know, go buy that or whatever, right? What I do is, like around Christmas, I'll go ahead and say, hey, you know, I want to help people out, and I'll put on sale for like $5 or something, and put it out and get 1,000 people, you know, sign up for it. But during the rest of the year, I don't even talk about it. But every day you're getting sales come in. So that's how you set up in the beginning. You get passive income coming in. So it does sell, and people use it. It's the basics. So what I was going to do is take that as a starting point. And if you guys who are inside, you know, my group, if any of you are into, you know, the gardening and that, all you have to do is make a couple of videos about, you know, just get my adapter and grow a couple of these, 7 to 10 days, right? And you can grow food. Guys, this whole table is full of microgreens. If you did a little something, just a couple, then you can take my videos or something, and all you have to do is tell people, hey, this crazy guy on YouTube, this is where I learned how to do all of this, and give them a link. And from there, I'm going to have it set up. I'm getting a program and everything where you guys can make 80% of that. And most of the people that have affiliate programs right now, it's somewhere like 10%, 10, 20%. You know, one I saw was like up to like 50% or whatever, but usually affiliate programs don't pay that much. Amazon, if I sell something on Amazon, I'm lucky if I get a 4% commission. And if it's like groceries or something, I get like 1%. So we want to make something where you guys can share a link, and it'll be, you know, for that program, and you make 80% of it. And then if that works out, we'll make more classes and things in the future. I told all of you who are in our program, you can take my videos and use it as inspiration to make your own course. And it's nothing fancy. There's only like 12 videos that are about 10 minutes long. It's not like you're making, you know, a novel or anything, right? I said you could just take mine, transcribe it, read it yourself in your own words, put some of your own pictures of your garden or your microgreens that you're growing, and you'll have your own course. You can set it up on a Thinkific for free. They don't even have a charge to put it up there. All you get is a, you know, the credit card charges, which, you know, they can't do anything about that fee. But basically you can get your online course up for free somewhere. One, you know, you can't put a bunch of them on there, and generate income like that. And then all you have to do, like I said, it's more of a passive selling. It's not getting up and saying, hey, I got an online course and go buy this course, you know, that Keep on Growing did or whatever. You just keep making videos, put that link in the description, right? And in the description, put, this is where I learned to do all of this, and put that link. And that's all you have to do. And people will find it sooner or later. They'll be down there. And then what I usually do, if you think like Gary Vee saying, jab, 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 right hook, is you make videos and you don't sell them. You don't sell, but it's in the description or your link in your bio. You can have just that link in your bio, which will be your affiliate link. And that way, if anybody does click it and they buy it, you get the affiliate commission. There's several ways that you can do it. So we're getting that set up. If y'all, want in on that, that's the only thing I can figure out as far as like that I can make a product that you guys don't have to go out and you don't have to make an entire course. It's already made. It's already making sales. And all you got to do is share a link and you can get most of the profit from it. Right now, might as well do it when they're going, sooner or later, all of these things are not going to work. AI is going to be doing everything. And maybe next week, I'll try to do it where I got to set up a new computer and I'll share my screen and we'll go into AI and like the ebook, the one that I've been selling for years, I can go on AI and I can generate it in like 10 minutes. And people are doing that and they're pushing it out. They're trying to sell it. Sooner or later, the entire internet's just going to be jaded and think, they're not even going to want it because they'll be doing it themselves. It's going to be getting easier and easier. They're just going to go to ChatGPT or Gemini or Claude or anything and say, how do I do off-grid hydroponics? And they can even go, how do I do off-grid hydroponics like Mike Van Duzy from Keep On Growing? And I don't want to mess with pH meters or anything. And they'll go through and look at all of my stuff I've done all through the years, right? And they'll summarize my stuff for them and give them the information that they need. And they don't have to go and buy my ebook. So that's just an example. And you guys can do that right now with just about anything that's out there. All these people that are offering you a free resource or a checklist or whatever, all you have to do is go onto AI and say, hey, if they're offering you a checklist to do XYZ, all you have to do is go on there and say, hey, make me a checklist like so-and-so does and make it about XYZ. And then you go through and you tweak it. People are going to be doing that. And they don't even have to type. All I have to do now is just talk to it. You just click the little phone icon, the little microphone, and you sit there and ask it what you want. So right now, this stuff is kind of working because it's more personal, like our stuff. But sooner or later on down the road, everything's going through major shifts. And this is what happens with all of social media and everything, is that everything keeps changing. And right now it's changing faster than ever. Before it would be like, what's the new update going to be this year? Is it going to mess everybody up, the algorithm? Now this is like week to week to week. You can have something new coming out. So that's the ebook. The course, they can actually have it with an AI avatar. Somebody can take my video, they can take my course, they can buy my course, take my videos, put it into a program, transcribe it, get that transcription, put it into another one, and generate an AI character that's talking and saying everything that I did in its own voice. And then it can go ahead and put it into another program that would generate different pictures to put in there too. So I just watched one lady was on a podcast with this guy, and the podcast was less than an hour and a half. And during that time, which was just part of it, because they talked about a lot of other things, but part of it, probably like 20 minutes, they made a children's book. And it wasn't like some just crappy, a couple of words in that. She described what she wanted, and the thing within minutes popped it up, had illustrations. It was about like dolphins, a family of dolphins or something. Had pictures of dolphins, them interacting, and it came across like a story. And the guy who was interviewing said he started reading it, little words on a page like a kid's book, and he was reading. He goes, when I read my kid's book, I like it to rhyme. So she went back in and said, could you change this so that it rhymes? And it waited a couple more minutes, spit the same thing back out, except it was all like a poem and rhyming. And she did this all like in 20 minutes, illustrated. So when people were like taking a year writing like kids' books, paying people to illustrate it, sending it off to a publisher, or trying to get it self-published or putting it up on Amazon KDP and all that, like in 10 minutes, she was getting it done. Crazy how it's getting. Yeah, it's just nuts. So what we got to do is keep an eye on all of that and realize that, you know, it doesn't matter what we think and what we feel about it. It's what's happening. And that's what a big problem with all the creators and people are trying to, you know, use social media is that they let their feelings get in the way. They're like, I don't like this, or I don't like that, or I don't think this should happen. Or it doesn't matter what we think. It's what happens. It's what's going on. So when you see things like that going on, I might not be making any children's book, and I wouldn't do it, but I can see what's happening, and that's in the baby stages, right? And we make ebooks, we make digital products, we make online courses and all that. And if it can do that in 10 minutes, why can't it replicate what I'm doing in like an hour, right? And something that took me like years to do, and now they can go through and look at all of my content from 10 years and condense that down into one course and have it with a PowerPoint. They can say, can you do a slide deck for Google Slides, or can you make this a PowerPoint? And they go over and summarize all of my stuff, have pictures that aren't even me, and put an AI voice. You can, it took that book too, and it made that book that guy was reading, and then you click a button and it narrated the book in whatever voice they wanted. So it read the kid's book. So if the kid gets that, it flips the pages, it narrates it, and this was like in 10 minutes it generated it. So somebody can take all of my stuff, feed it into AI, which wouldn't take but like a couple of hours, and generate an entire ebook or online course or flip book or whatever they wanted with their own pictures and put it up somewhere. So, you know, do I like that? Right? But I just realized that that can happen, and that it's going to happen. You know, there won't be a lot of people like focusing on me because I'm just like small to medium, right? But all the big channels that are out there, there's one newscaster I saw, and it's happening to all of them, but he's the one that asked for help, was that there's a lot of people. It's not like one person. So someplace like India or Pakistan and that, they're ripping off all of his videos. He comes on and does this, live streams and talks, current events with the news, and they'll take that, take it down, do just like I said, transcribe it, right? Take that, put it in, get an AI voice over it. So now it's a different voice, and upload it, change the pitch and the speed a little bit so it's not automatically synced, so the content ID doesn't line up exactly right. And then there's another AI program that lip syncs that it's actually him talking, but now the words are a little off, right? So it looks like back in the Godzilla movies, right? And it'll sync his lips to the new transcription. And they'll do that, and it'll have a different voice, but it'll be his face, his lips moving to those words, same banner, same icon, and it's not him, and just channels going up, boom, 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 like every day, another channel, another channel, another channel. And some of those are getting like hundreds of thousands of views because they see his face and the banner, right? And think it's him. So when it pops up in their feed, they think it's him. If the people who've been watching him every day just click on it without thinking. So all of his views are like going somewhere else. And so he's asking, you know, people to go report those and flag them. But as soon as you get them taken down, there's 10 more popping up. So this stuff, the pains and that everyone's going through, and that's what the platforms have to get a handle on, all of that. But it never happens right away, and it doesn't. They wait until there is massive pain, because as long as it's getting views and they can put an ad in front of people, they're just going to let it play. And then it's going to take the people who are getting hurt and say, hey, this isn't right. And enough people doing that for them to actually do something about it. So all of these things that are happening, that's just the baby steps. That's just the beginning. AI, think back 2 or 3 years ago, there wasn't, you know, none of this. We were just generating silly little pictures, right? So this is just the beginning of it. So everybody's got to kind of just be ready for it. And that's why I said, what's going to count from here on out, if you want to make content and you want to form a connection, it's going to be you. And the more imperfect you are right now, the better, because all of the AI models are trying to get perfect. They're trying to get better and better and better to where you can't tell the difference. So the more you can be imperfect is going to be better for you. How is that legal? Copying. It's not legal. But most of it, like here in America, right, our copyright laws, what are you going to do if it's you and it's somebody in India with the channel? Right? So a lot of this stuff would have to do with like international law and that. So what it has to do is the platform, they might not monetize those channels or whatever. But years back, at least YouTube, I don't know about the other platforms, kind of washed their hands of like the copyright thing, where they would intervene and they'd be part of the process when somebody would dispute it. And they said, you know, that they'll go ahead and like pass on the copyright claims or copyright strikes and stuff like that. And if somebody gets like 3 copyright strikes, they'll ban their channel and delete it. But as far as litigation and legal stuff, that they're not part of it, that's between you and whoever was doing it. So their only part is what's actually happening on the platform. And if they're violating it and you say that's part of the copyright, you can get them to ban it. But as far as like being legal and you getting any money out of anything, it's not. It's between you and them. Do you post on TikTok? If so, is it worth it? Yeah, Jerry, I do. TikTok, to me, I was following Gary Vee. Everything Gary Vee was saying to do, I was doing. I was on TikTok back when it was Musical.ly, before they, and if you guys don't know about this, TikTok wasn't around. There was this other app came around, was called Musical.ly. And it basically was like TikTok, but it was an American company. And TikTok started getting big, and TikTok and Musical.ly merged. I was on Musical.ly, and everybody that was on there, when they merged, it became you were part of TikTok. So I was on TikTok, the American version, from day one. And to me, everything's worth it. What people look at when they say is something worth it, they look at if I upload content, if they're looking for views or whatever, or following, you know, is that worth it? Or if they're like, we're talking about generating revenue. If I say, is TikTok strictly worth it as far as generating revenue? Me, right now, it's not. I've got 400,000 followers, but that's an audience. And what I want to do is I'm building a brand. So I want to be everywhere where people just know my name. And if you're on there just trying to generate income, you can get on TikTok and get into the live shopping, like what we're doing on Whatnot. And TikTok is a little different because you can, I think you got to get 1,000 followers, which is like easy to do. This channel right here has 1,500 followers. I've had it for years. I haven't live streamed on here for 2 years. And we just came on, right? The last live stream that we did had 200 views. And I remember starting live streams on my main channel and having like 30 views or something, and thinking that was quite a bit, you know, getting started out. So this one we haven't used for a couple of years. This one has 1,500 followers. I might delete this one tomorrow and start another one. And I do that just so I can see all the stuff that I teach people, that you can do it over and over. So people might come on and go, okay, you already have 1,500 followers. I'll say, okay, I'll delete this channel. And then I'll tell all of you, if you want to find me, just look for Keep On Growing Cog Cafe. You know, there'll be another channel popping up. And I'll start it on another channel. And because I'm not worried about like the following or the views and everything. It's just that you're building up a brand where I pop up. Now when people pop up, they'll see me and they'll go, hey, that's that crazy plant guy or whatever, right? So I've got people on Instagram, TikTok, not generating a lot of income. If I wanted to, I could do TikTok shopping. Oh, what I was going to say is that you could get 1,000 followers. You can go live on TikTok and you can be an affiliate. And they've got companies that will send you free products. Like at one time it was ice maker. and they're sending it to all the influencers. And every time you were scrolling, you'd see people with like an ice maker going, "Hey, look at this!" And the clickable link, was right there on the screen, and people were like buying it, and they would sell it for like 30% or whatever, and the influencers were making money. Those people aren't buying a bunch of products. So if you can do that, you could have got in on TikTok affiliate program, and you could sell, anything all these companies were like shipping to you, and you could sell it and not have to start an inventory. Like me right now, I've got like loads and loads of filament sitting around, all 3D printer. People have this. I have cases of boxes. I have cases of seeds. I got tape, labels, printers, all kinds of stuff. You can go start the affiliate program on TikTok and Amazon too. You can do Amazon Live. If you get into the influencer program, you can go live on Amazon and just show off products. People are on there all day long, especially like housewives. And there's other housewives, and they're just showing them stuff that they use around the house, and people buy it, and you'll be getting commissions off of it, and you don't have to buy a single thing. So that's pretty great. So if you want to make some money, TikTok is good at that. But I've got that audience there. If I want to, I can drop a video and get like 10 views or something. I can drop another one and get 40,000 views. They want long form content out of me now that I'm in the like creator program. So if I dropped a short before, it could blow up. Right now, my shorts won't really blow up, but if I drop a long form video, I'll get thousands and thousands of views. But I'm not really generating like income like I am off of YouTube and Facebook, but that's just another place that I'm growing an audience and your name's getting out there. So that's part of our thing about growing a business and growing a brand, is you don't grow a brand by just talking to 10 people on YouTube, right? So to me, if I had the time, I would be dumping a bunch of stuff on LinkedIn. I got a profile there. I put like 10 posts or something like in years. I would be posting daily in there a couple times a day. Pinterest is another one you can make money at. It's just I don't have the time. So you've got that. You can post pins. You can have links now. Before they didn't have that. You can link to, it could be an affiliate link, or it could be a link to your shop. It could be a link to your YouTube videos. If you want to drive traffic to your channels, you can make pins on Pinterest and get people to shoot over to YouTube. TikTok, if you want to grow an audience and you want to, if you get into the art of like what we were talking about, shorts, you got to learn to keep people's attention. And it sounds like it's easy, 1 minute video, keeping someone's attention, right? It's the hardest damn thing to do. People within 7 seconds are like flicking off to the next cat video or something to make them laugh and shit, right? But if you can do that, get the hook, get a little retention in that, you can repost those. And that's what we teach too, is to do it native. Some people film like their Instagram right on their phone, and then they'll take that and they'll have their Instagram, or they'll film TikTok and then they'll take that with the watermark and upload that everywhere. If you can do it native to all of those platforms, that's why I told you guys to practice just getting your phone, filming, having that video, and then practice editing something like CapCut or something. And if you can edit it down, you can take that video and post it right now to Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. They've got reels on Facebook and Instagram, and YouTube has shorts now. Before they didn't have all that. YouTube didn't have shorts. So you were doing short form content just on TikTok. You were doing long form content on Facebook and YouTube. But now you can make like that short form content and cross post it everywhere like in 15 minutes. Once you guys get into it, you can always, they've got programs in that where you can just schedule it. You can go and get your content, put it up. You can batch record and get it posted. But that's what Gary Vee said, be everywhere. And that's what I was doing. That's why you see me on all of those. But the reason why you should kind of listen and follow along is because you can watch what I'm doing. I'm doing it like right now, and it's working. There's a lot of programs where you go and you pay people, where they've built up an audience, they've done something, they made a lot of money, and so they're explaining what they did. It might have took them 10 years to do that, and they're explaining what they did, and things are changing so fast right now. What they had done, like even if it was last year, might not be working today. So right now, I'm actually, still posting on all these platforms. I'm not going all in on all of them, but what I'm doing is what's working, you lean in on that. So you see me like lacking on YouTube. I could be putting a bunch more videos on YouTube. If I wanted, right now I'm making like 2,000 in ad revenue, and I haven't hardly put anything up. The only thing that's been on YouTube is a couple of videos that I just cross posted. And every time we go live, right? And that live's driving traffic. So the live's actually hurting more than it's helping. What is Gary V's page? It's Gary Vaynerchuk. So it's either Gary VEE or Gary Vaynerchuk, like that. And if you go back, if you look at his stuff, like right now, you're going to see a bunch of stuff about like cartoons. It's called VeeFriends. Before that, he had like the NFT thing when NFTs were going around. And before that was he had Empathy Wines. Go back to his older stuff. And that's when I started watching, was around 2017. And once you start looking at some of his older videos and start liking them and that, they'll start showing you more of them. But he talks about, he's still talking about that. You can still see, I'll post some in our group. He had a couple of podcasts and speaking events that he just went to, where he's talking about like the state of social media and what's pertinent like today. But that, a little backstory on that, people who don't know who he is, he came over from Russia. They're all immigrants. His dad saved up, started working. I think he was working in a liquor store or whatever, but he saved up and bought his own. He bought a liquor store. Gary Vee started working in it when he was like a kid, right? Bagging ice and shit like that. Anywho, he worked, and then he started doing videos. It wasn't on YouTube. YouTube hadn't even started, but he was one of the first people when YouTube started, and then he did move over. There was another platform before that. I forgot what it was called. But he started making videos, and he started Wine Library, and he was on YouTube, and it was like bad video. It was, the lighting wasn't good, the crappy camera, but he was talking about wine and doing reviews, because that's what he, ever since he was a kid, he grew up in that environment. So he's giving honest reviews of wine, doing it in his own, special way, and over and over and over. And you can go back to some of those videos, because I think he still has some up on Wine Library, way back in videos that have been around and still, only have a couple thousand views or something, right? And as famous as he is, he's got 5 million followers on his main channel. You would think people who want to know the backstory would go and watch some of those, but they haven't. But you can see the difference in what he was doing. So he kept plugging away and speaking to his perfect avatar. He was just speaking. He wasn't talking to people. He wasn't begging people to watch him. If they were into bicycle riding and didn't give a shit about wine, he didn't want them watching, right? So he's speaking to your perfect avatar, and he just did that. And finally, somebody mentioned him on, it was Good Morning America or something, one of those morning shows. They were like, "Hey, you're the wine guy," whatever, right? And asked him to come on, and then the rest is history. So he blew up after that. But he invested. It's like an immigrant. You work hard. You save your money. You eat crap. You save and don't spend money. And so he saved up some money working. And when Facebook, Tinder, all these Twitter, not Tinder, he invested in them, angel investor, like first rounds and stuff. So he made some money at that. And he said he passed on Uber, which he could have made like millions. It would have been worth like 250 million today. He had a friend, his friend, they knew the people who started Uber. In fact, his brother took the very first Uber ride in New York when it first started. But so he had that, built his dad's wine company from 3 million a year up to 60 million a year, and then just left to start his own thing. So he didn't get part of that thing that he built. He built it for his parents. And Wine Library, you can go look at Wine Library up northeast. I think it's in Jersey or something. He built that for them, took off and started a digital marketing agency from scratch, just on the stuff that he learned doing Wine Library, making those videos, and just seeing that this is going to be the future, that this is something new. This is going to be replacing television. Like television, took the place of like radio took place of like, like newspapers, all these things, they're going through evolutions, that this is the next evolution. So he went all in on that, started a digital marketing agency, and it's right now he's got like a couple thousand employees, millions of dollars a year. He did I think last year, I'm not sure which ones they did. I didn't watch the Super Bowl this year. The one before or whatever, he did like, I think it was a Mr. Peanut commercial. So a Super Bowl commercial, I think they did Sabra, the hummus. There's a couple of different ones, but he's working with $1 million clients. And all of his stuff that he does, he puts out on the internet. He says, hey, Instagram's working real good. You need to start making Instagram reels or carousels or whatever he's doing, or just watch if his team's putting up more Instagram instead of the other ones, then you go ahead and do that. And that's what I built up a following on Instagram, and it's not just any videos, it's the ones, you're always thinking about giving value. So he said Instagram reels are popping off. I went over and leaned into Instagram. He was like, get on TikTok. And I was working with a lot of creators telling them get on TikTok, and they would do their own thing where they'd get on there and go, every one of their videos was like, go check out my YouTube channel. So every one of their videos was just trying to drive traffic off of it. And TikTok's not going to push your videos out like that. So they'd make a couple dozen videos, all of them trying to push traffic off, get no views, and they go, this shit doesn't work. And they would quit. And it's a shame, because a lot of them were talented. A lot of them were more talented than me. There's a lot of them that can make videos 10 times better than mine, and they're charismatic and had lots more valuable information than me just saying stick a plant in some nutrient solution, right? But they would quit because they weren't doing the right things. They weren't, so that's why you listen to, he's built his agency with $1 million customers doing all of that. So he's living in it right now. And he's saying, TikTok shopping, just like what we were talking about. He was saying, that's popping off. That's live social shopping. Now here comes Whatnot. He was saying, get on Whatnot. That's why I went and started a profile on Whatnot and started selling stuff. And I'm glad I did. I'm meeting a lot of you. I mean, the community over there is just like awesome. It's nothing like any of the other social media platforms. But he said Facebook was kind of like dead. Y'all remember Facebook? YouTube started like taking off, and Facebook kind of like petered out for a while. And then he came on one day and was saying Facebook Reels are popping off. So they had like IGTV, everybody's trying short form vertical video. And then they're posting across all these platforms and seeing what's working. And then he comes on and he's telling people what's going on. Hey, this works. So I started taking my videos, and I already was a creator. I was a creator when Facebook first started taking creators, when they first started the creator program, because I had a page and I was already putting videos out there. And all the other people that I knew, they put a couple out. They weren't getting views. It wasn't generating revenue. It wasn't driving sales. So they wouldn't spend time. I was just constantly putting it out because it was helping people. And like I said, so it's building your brand and building your name. I wasn't caring that I wasn't generating revenue from it, that it's another place that people find you. And I can always, at some time in the future, like now, I'm telling people, hey, go watch me on Whatnot, right? If I didn't build that up over the years, then I wouldn't have that possibility right now. So I already was just uploading content anyway. And Facebook started their creator program, and they said, sent me an email and said, hey, we're inviting you to be part of the beta if you want to get in, and we'll give you a bonus for every video you upload. I was like, all right, what's that? And it was something like $350 a video. I said, whoa, you know, I was making like 350 a month on YouTube. And I said, how many videos can you put up? And they're like, I think they said like something like 4 a week or something. And they said, I said, can I just use my content, you know, that I've got on YouTube? And they said, yeah, as long as there's no music, you know, that would violate their copyright. They said, so I went through like all my old videos that I still had on a hard drive and just started uploading those, you know, and making like over 10 grand a month with just putting a couple videos that I already had made. And if I would have known it would have, I didn't think it was like seriously going to do that. I would have put a lot more videos up there. So I just put a couple, you know, and then later it kind of calculates everything, comes out and like, whoa, you know, it's like 12 times what I was making on YouTube. So I wouldn't have had that opportunity if I wasn't already posting content. They weren't going out and just finding random people and going, hey, inviting them into the program, right? They found people that were already there doing the thing that they wanted to do. And Instagram started doing the same thing. So I did that, started posting videos, and that's when I was on Facebook for 4 or 5 years. I think I had a couple thousand followers. It took me that many years to build up a couple thousand followers. Then I got into that beta program, put out some content, and got my first 100,000 followers through that first year. And that was just because I was in the right place at the right time and doing the things that platform wanted. And then after that, and people saw that, people have been following me and saw me with a couple thousand followers. All of a sudden, you know, it's going up. It's 10,000, 20,000, 50,000. They're like, whoa, you know, how you blowing up? And then they try to get in, but they couldn't because they've been putting up like 3 videos a year or something, right? So all of this stuff, if you concentrate on building a brand and don't think that you're out there just trying to make some revenue somewhere, you know, you're just trying to get a lot of views and getting revenue. If you're trying to build a brand, the revenue will come. All this stuff will come sooner or later. And then the same thing happened with like Instagram. So I was doing that on Facebook, and then Gary Vee said Instagram's popping off. So then things taper off on Facebook, lean into Instagram, then you build that up. And then back to YouTube's working again. So go back to YouTube. So this isn't like you're constantly trying to put content across all the platforms all the time. It's that you're leaning into what works. But you can take, like we're talking about, short vertical videos. YouTube's increased the length to 3 minutes. TikTok, I think, is up to 10 minutes. And Instagram's up to like 20 minutes. But if you make short form content, if you can make stuff, you know, you can take it and just cross post it. So that doesn't take any time. If you can speak to each individual platform, like the people on Facebook are completely different than the people on TikTok, right? So if you can make it a little different and specific, you'll do even better. Maybe once you get big where you get a team, you know, I'm not at the point where I'm doing that. So right now we've got so big. I was speaking like, hey, TikTok and hey, Facebook, right? But now I'm so busy doing all our other stuff, leaning into what's working. I don't have time to be specific to each platform. So now I'm taking my content and just cross-posting it everywhere. So what that does is that keeps you relevant, that those platforms know that you're still here, you're still uploading content. You might not be making hundreds of thousands of views. You know, one might pop off, and you never know when you make your video. Kind of have a feel after you do it a while, you kind of have a feel if you know this is going to do good on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, but it rarely does good on like all the platforms. So if you want to go ahead and pick and choose and play like roulette and try to figure it out, you can do that, but you might miss a ton of opportunities. The best thing to do is like what I'm saying, is just take your content and cross post it. And it doesn't take that much time. I can do it in 15 minutes, is have the same post on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook and Instagram. If you're in the business suite, you can post to those at the same time. So that kills 2 birds with 1 stone. Then you take that same content and you can put it, and you don't have to drop them and publish them at the same time. You can put them up and say, I want it to go live on Facebook first. That way, if this one starts driving sales, I know it's coming from Facebook. And if I drop them all at the same time, I start getting sales. I don't know if it's driving sales from YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or what, right? So you don't have to drop them all at the same time. And if you don't care where the tracking is coming from, Facebook's got a pixel for tracking. There's all kinds of things you can get into. But if you don't care, you can just drop them on everything, and just have traffic going to wherever you need it to go. But that's basically why I'm like everywhere, and it's working, like I said, and we're doing it right now. So if I stop concentrating on all that, and I don't keep making my videos and putting them up and driving sales, if I stop that and I build like this course and say how to make money on social media, and I explain what I've done for the past 5 years, and just put that all into a curriculum and say, here, you go do it. I did it. It works. It might not be working tomorrow. And if I start leaning into that, then all of this other stuff stops working. So when I take the videos and cross post them, I don't really care if I'm driving a lot of traffic from TikTok, as long as I'm getting the traffic that I need. Even if it doesn't drive traffic, it's keeping me relevant on that platform. So now that platform knows I'm still a creator. I'm still uploading video. It's still trying to figure out who to put me in front of. It might change from time to time, but at least it's not like saying YouTube's working for me right now, I'm going to neglect all these other 3. So that's what we're going to do. Like in our program that we're getting started, that's why I want you guys to start and put stuff up. I didn't start like this right from the get-go. I started on Facebook. Then I learned about YouTube, started posting on YouTube. But I did make a profile. And that's what you guys need to do, is at least make a profile on all these different ones. And don't be following all the cat videos and liking them and everything, whatever, your niche and that. Kind of follow that kind of stuff. But at least do a profile. And I know it's tough. I don't have any expectations out of anyone, because I was in Gary Vaynerchuk teamed up with Stan Store. And right now, if you guys go look for my online course and my ebook, it's in a Stan Store. So my links in my bio and that will have a Stan Store, and I'll have Keep On Growing. And I bought that program for like a year. So I'm using that to host the online course and that. There was a challenge, and you got that year at a discount if you got in on the challenge. And the challenge was telling people, start posting content, all the stuff like we're telling you, and how to use Stan Store. And he would have a weekly meeting. This went on for 8 weeks. So he would have a weekly meeting for like an hour or so. And when you popped on, and then so Gary Vee was there to talk, explain, what to do, give you encouragement. And the owner of Stan Store was there too. And he would give like some metrics in that. So first week, this like people want to make money. They've already paid a couple $100 for a year of this program, right? So you pay for it. You're in the challenge. They're telling you what to do. And like the first week, 80 to 90% of people didn't even have a icon, a profile picture. The first month, I think I was going in, it was like 3 or 4 weeks, which is halfway through the program, the challenge, right? Over 50% of the people didn't even have their Stripe account connected. So if you're doing something, you're paying for a program where hopefully people are going to be buying something from you, you've got to have some way for them to make the transaction, right? And it didn't take but a couple of minutes to connect your bank to Stripe, if any of you have done that. And halfway through the program, like over half the people didn't even have any way to process a payment. So I know there's a lot of people are like curious, want to figure these things out, but they're not going to take like the necessary steps. And a lot of these little things, if you don't get those, your ducks in a row, none of the other stuff, will happen. And if it's not important enough for you to make a profile picture, learn how to do that, right now you can go ask ChatGPT how to do it and make you one. if you don't take the time to do that and connect up, you know, the things that need to be working, you're not going to be making content and pushing content out there. And then there's people who got in the program, the top 5 or 10 people like went, and you can actually go on his channel. They got to go up to New York and have like a meeting with Gary Vee. And I think they took like 5 random people. If you made over $555, his favorite number was 5. They chose 5 more people out of that. And I made over $500, and I didn't even do anything. I just set it up, put my online course in there, put my ebook, and took that link and stuck it in my profiles everywhere. And I don't tell people it's there. I don't drive traffic, and I just left it. I made over $500 just doing that. So there's tons of ways, you know, that you can make money. And that's what I want you guys to set up. Like I said, if you're focused on building a brand, if you need to make money, start putting content out. But there's different ways. Like if you leverage this, if I can like let you take my affiliate link and just put it up where you make most of the commission off of it, like 80%, then you don't have to worry about making your own online course. There's a lot of people they call it imposter syndrome. I've never had this, and I didn't understand it, but it's where people, if they make it somewhere, they feel like they don't belong or something. And then there's other people who never make it because they're afraid to even start. And there's some people who think they don't deserve it. So you might think you want to make some videos about growing some plants or something, but there's all these creators with millions of followers and stuff, and you feel small, and you're worried about putting something out and trying to sell something to someone, trying to teach them something. But there's people out there, if they want to learn how to grow a blueberry plant, you know, some of them don't care if it's somebody who has 1 million followers or if somebody has like 1,000, you know, as long as they're getting the information they need. And some people prefer the smaller one because it's just like this, like we're getting together and talking, and we're in a private Facebook group. We had some Zoom meetings, right? I've got hundreds of thousands of followers on 4 platforms. I got 1 million on Facebook, right? But there's some of the creators, when they get so big, they've got teams working for them. They don't have time to interact with people. And some people would rather buy a product from a smaller creator where they can send them a DM and they're going to get a message back. So there's still room for everyone. But some of you might be a little intimidated to make your own course and then put a link in the bio and go, hey, if you like this video and how we grew this, there's a link down in my bio to my course, you know, and push people that way. Some of you might be a little apprehensive about it because you don't have the clout, because you don't have all the content out there to show them that you're an expert and you know what you're doing. So that's why I wanted to like take mine, which it's out there. Like I said, we generate sales all the time. So I know it works. So if you guys want to take that, then you'll be able to, you know, use it, make some money with it. And if not, we'll teach you how to make your own. But like I said, it's got to be, right now you can use AI to make your own and make it better than like the one that I made. But sooner or later, anybody that doesn't know anything about us is going to be able to make one too. So that's why I said, if people get in on it now, and what you're doing is you're learning skills, you're going through the motions. This just like if they took us right now, if we've never worked in fast food before and they throw us on the fry station, we wouldn't know what to do, what button to push, or how many fries to put in the basket, right? But after we work for like a week, we're over there just like, right? So that's what's happening on social media, is you go through the motions. And if you guys never start, you're never going to start going through the motions, and you learn what's going on. That way, when they do shift and something does change, that you can shift with it. If you don't know what's going on in it, and it's every time something changes, it's like really detrimental to you, and it slows things down. It's like a big obstacle. Then you're always going to be playing catch up, and that's what like 90% of the creators do. They're always reacting to things. So what you do is right now, get in there, practice, put out content, start growing an audience, start talking to your perfect avatar. People are going to like, be imperfect. People are going to get tired of AI. They're going to like the imperfect. but you do it to where it starts to become habit as part of your workflow. And then you watch what's going on. Like we're saying that people are going to be generating this. There's going to be a ton of AI content out, and watch what's going on and learn how to navigate around it to where you can still connect with your audience and everything. And don't be afraid of it, and don't put your head in the sand and just think, you know, that this isn't right and wait for it, because you'll just get run over or left behind. Oh, got a bunch of sirens going by. Alrighty, guys. So that was over an hour. I'm going to try and keep these to about an hour. If you're in the Facebook group, like I said, if you're just curious, then like I said, that if you guys got questions, you just ask questions. And that the people who actually want to generate income over in the Facebook group, whether you put a post or you DM me or email me or whatever, but let me know how quick, you know, you need to generate income. Are you looking at something quick, like trying to get into affiliate programs or flipping items or doing something where you can make some quick money? Or if you're thinking of building a brand and building a business, and then I'll know which direction to go, you know, with people, because there's no sense in us all being in like one group talking about that. I don't need to be talking about building a brand to people that are, you know, they just want to make a couple bucks on a weekend or something, right? So let me know what y'all want. Christy, thank you very much. Great information. Yeah, and I hope it helps everyone. Like I said, so I'll be dropping videos on here when we start making them. And like I said, and don't be surprised if you go to log on one day and this channel's just gone, disappeared, and I just start a new one, because I do that sometimes. And it's just to show you guys that all of these things that I'm teaching you still work. And I'm not afraid, you know, to start over and do it again. And my wife's got like 2 channels that she just messes around with and posts some videos and does her rock painting and that when she feels like it. But there's tons of opportunity out there. And if y'all get a chance, like I put Gary Vaynerchuk over there, go check out some of his videos. The last, any one of them that look like a keynote where he's like speaking or he's at an event. And the more recent ones will talk about the stuff that's happening today, like Whatnot, stuff like that, live social shopping. And then his older stuff, the things in general are pertinent, but like the older stuff, he's going, get on TikTok, you know, that time's kind of past. So you can watch those, you can get on TikTok, you can start to build an audience, but like the gold rush kind of thing is gone. And now it's like Whatnot, live social shopping. And then the other platform, you know, YouTube is always just like king as far as if you just want to make content and get monetized and do brand deals. But there's a ton of opportunity and all kinds of things to do. And at the same time, you know, if you focus on helping people, that makes it all the easier. When you say Facebook group, are you referring to the Cog Cafe? Yeah, just want to make sure I respond in the right area. Yeah, Jerry, the Cog Cafe, the Keep on Growing, that group is just gardening. And that's where like some people came into the Cog Cafe and started posting like some of the gardening stuff. And I deleted those and told them, you know, that the gardening stuff goes to the Keep on Growing group. The Cog Cafe is where we're talking about making money and generating revenue. And then the Keep on Growing page is just my, you know, my personal one like that. But that's a good question. And the Keep on Growing group, because this is what I see a lot of the gurus telling people to do: start a Facebook group, make some videos, get people in the group, and to try to sell them. Right? That shit never works. And if you go in my Keep on Growing group, I think right now, I'm not even sure how many, it's over 20,000 followers or people are in that group. And if you guys are in that group, you can see I don't get in there and try to sell all the time. Right? Over there, I'm just like cross posting my videos. So it might have like when I have the video, it says say BOGO, and then it sends you a link to that. But as far as, you know, going in there and saying, hey, go check out my online course, go check out this and check out that, I just been building that group and just been helping people. And we just started selling these, you know, like in the last couple of years. So the first like 5 years is nothing but just helping people and growing the group. So that's something, you know, like I said, so you guys keep that in mind. If you want to build up an audience, you got to give value. You got to help people, unless you're an entertainer. And then that's where, you know, you can get on and just entertain people. So people come to the platforms for information or entertainment, mainly. You know, 90% of the things is just that. So if you're just entertaining people, you can get on there and just do it. If you're going to provide information, you're going to have to build an audience and do it by not selling them all the time. So that's where we have fun, just helping people and just building audience, and we're doing it across all the platforms. And then when you do have something to sell, you have an audience. You know, not everyone is going to go. People think if you have like 1 million followers, then you're going to have 1 million people going to your Whatnot stream or whatever, right? But that's not it. You just need the right people to go. The people who know they're going to go over there and they're going to be shopping. And the other ones don't have to go. But if I only had like 20 people on Facebook, I told 20 people, you know, to go over there, probably no one would show up, right? So that's why you've got to build up your audiences. It's always a game of numbers, and all the marketing, business, everything is all numbers. And it's basically just doing more and more and more. And it doesn't have to be where you're like killing yourself. You know, right now we've been working, but I stopped, came on, did this live stream. You know, I'll go grab a little bite to eat, then I'll be packing some more orders. It's actually quite fun, you know, once you get to doing it. And once you learn to do things the right way, like I said, you get in the workflow. You know, so the video right now, if I tell you guys go make a video and go put it up, you're stressing out about it. Like, what am I going to say? Is the lighting right? How do I do my camera? Do I have the right aspect ratio? All those things going through your mind, right? And you're stressing about just making a video. I can grab my phone right now and just pick it up and talk for 30 seconds and put it up as a short. And if I think it's good enough, I just put on all 4 channels. I do that out in the garden sometimes when everything's in bloom. Instead of making a full-blown video, I just grab the camera, go around, and hey, TikTok, you know, check out this pepper plant. Here's some tomatoes we're doing, right? And walk around the garden. And then I'll come back and switch to Facebook. And I can say, hey, Facebook, check out this pepper plant, you know, and look at our tomatoes, and just go through the thing again. And within like 20 minutes, you have like a video up on all the different channels. So, all right, guys, I'm going to take off. Yeah, the group that I'm talking about is the Cog Cafe. And other people that are popping on here that aren't in the Facebook group don't know what we're talking about. My next video, I'll drop a video explaining all that. So make sure you're following and watch for the video, because people are in a private group. And right now we were giving away a lifetime membership for only $27. And to be in the group and where we help you make money on social media, it's going to be $35 a month when we get started, or $1,200 lifetime membership. And right now, while we're building it out, and we're using feedback. So whatever I do to help you and you give us feedback, you're part of the process, the building process. So that's why we're giving away the lifetime membership for $27. And once you're in for good. And then when all the other people are paying monthly, you're still in there. But I'll come back and maybe make the next video or put it in the description. Right now we're just off the cuff, you know, as it's building out. So there's nothing in the description here. I just went live and just turned it on. And that's what I'm trying to get everybody here doing, is just to make content. Don't stress out about it. My camera was not working. My camera went off. It wasn't connecting. It was on, and by the time I start streaming, it cut off. I had to go get an older one, and it was just a mess. But I finally just got it to go on, and I wasn't even sure if it was going to stay on. Thanks, Mike, for all your great info. No problem. Thanks. And hi, Biscuits. Everybody, Building a Village, how are you doing? Thank you. Yeah, so like I said, so if you're in the group already, you got any questions, just make a post or DM me over there. All right. We'll catch y'all later.